Thank you. Thank you, Hannes. So now we've heard about several interesting feasibility studies, and the last one definitely, that's an ongoing work. That's why we didn't have the numbers yet for the questions. And the actual work on this feasibility study has been part of another project. Hannes has joined us to document his approach. And maybe also that is an exercise we could following up on what are sort of the requirements for sharing such information in the future, so we can actually more easily follow up. Because as I understand, Giuseppe is not part of that development, but he might pick it up later. So this kind of documentation may be of interest. Now I want to switch back to the main outline of the presentation. Which is this one. So here we were at Anders. Now we're getting to a part 2. In this last part, we were supposed to have roughly an hour. We have 20 minutes. It's a bit unfortunate. The audience at presence, they can always leave. Everyone else can leave. So I want to take a quick poll. How urgent are people needing to quit? Because it would be a bit of a pity if we have to skip everything that remains, or most of it. Then we'll just try to be quick. Most of the last part was for discussions anyway. So I want to just introduce quickly the next part, or the next, what is left for today on the presentation. We have the surveys. So we have executed 2 surveys. That's the next part. Then we'll talk quickly about the workshops. And finally, there's open floor of discussion where we want to highlight some points, but we've already heard a lot of highlights, so I don't want to override the other ones. And so let's start on the surveys. So there have been 2 surveys, and we'll start with the second survey, which should actually, I'm sorry, there should be another slide that I will pick forward first. Huh? Just to explain what the 2 surveys are. These preliminaries won't be in detail repeated. But the one survey is really not a survey where you ask thousands of people and get statistic evidence. We talk to people from different labs, and we try to find out sort of what is the state of the art, what are people currently doing. Initially, we thought, okay, we could just find out all the common software and then start collaborating because we're using all the same software. In the end, I think what the value is more that we understand what is actually a definition of a smart grid lab. Even though we find a lot of overlaps with these people, we can see that there are different focus areas. The other survey is about Power Lab Decay, about DTU CE, and what do people do here in this survey. We executed this as a survey with an online questionnaire, 40 questions, and rather many people were willing to answer them. Which maybe says that there's some value in it. We can keep this presentation maybe short. Maybe there's a possibility within this CE that we repeat it another time if we want to follow up. But we can see that the response rate was on average around 50%. Not huge statistical evidence, but I'm not a specialist there. We want to focus on research focus. What are people doing? What tools are they using? How they're teaching? And especially knowledge sharing practices was here of interest. So with these words, I want to give the word to Junji.